Hi guys, welcome back. I have a new camera, I have a new microphone. I really hope this is working right, otherwise I have to refilm it. I must apologise for doing makeup in my bra, but it is so hot in here and I've come straight from the gym and I forgot to bring any clothes. And I've done my hair, so we're just going to go with it. So many of you are nerds apparently, just like me, and a lot of you really enjoyed my Clarice Starling Silence of the Lambs look and wanted to see more videos like that. So today we are going to break down another iconic makeup look. It's not Flashdance. It's actually Glenn Close as Alex Forrest in Fatal Attraction. And we're going to talk about the film, why I love it, why I don't love it, and we're going to talk about how they used makeup and hair in this film to help develop the character's journey. So let's just pin this out of the way. I do believe Glenn Close's hair was a perm, but we're not going there. I've tongued it on a really, really tiny, almost microscopic wand. Right, let's pop some skincare on. I'm starting with this. This is Shiseido Ultimune Power Infusing Concentrate. Over the top of this, I'm going to spritz a little of the Weleda Skin Food Ultralight Dry Oil. Bit of moisturiser. Shiseido Essential Energy Hydrating Day Cream. You might wonder what informs my skincare choices. Obviously, I like them to have great ingredients, but mostly it depends how makeup sits on them. Some things, even if it's great and it has great reviews, I won't use it if it pills on the skin or whatever. It's just no use to me. So, okay. Let me pop some lip balm on as well. Right, let's zoom in. I hope this is a good angle and zoomed in enough. Let me know in the comments if you want me to zoom in more. I won't love it, but if you love it, I'll do it. Let's talk about Fatal Attraction. It's a film that came out in the 80s. It's a pretty controversial film. It stars Glenn Close as a woman who is the love interest of a married man. He's not married to her. Her character is called Alex Forrest. She has an affair with a guy called Dan, who's a dick, and he is played by Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas plays great dicks, let's be honest. Every film he ever plays, I think it's something to do with the way that his mouth is quite downturned. He's always got a slight meanness to the character. I love Michael Douglas, by the way. I think he's brilliant. Particularly in Behind the Candelabra, if you haven't seen it, where he plays Liberace. Fantastic. But so many good roles. I really love him because he does have that duality to him where you're kind of like... Now, as I said, Dan is married and his wife goes away for the weekend and he meets Alex Forrest and decides to have an affair with Alex. I'm going to do my best while we talk through some of the controversial aspects of this film so that I can think better. So, I am going to use Ultraviolet SPF 50, which is just a tint. It's an SPF tint. I just want the smallest amount of base. Glenn Close is not wearing a ton of base in this film in many of the scenes. You can see her freckles. There are a few scenes where she has a full base on, but we'll discuss that further on. So I'm going to pop a bit of base on. Alex's backstory is that she was abused as a child. And even though it's never discussed in the film, Glenn Close played and researched the character as if she had borderline personality disorder. And throughout the film, we see her exhibit an awful lot of the symptoms from the DSM of borderline personality disorder. One of the very interesting things about this film is that when they originally showed this film to audiences to see how it would play, the audience at the time hated the ending, and so they changed the ending and gave it a different one. Now, I do think that the original ending would have played better to audiences now because we've changed a lot as people. We understand many more things that perhaps we didn't understand before. I find the ending that it has now much more misogynistic, and the original ending probably much truer to a potential diagnosis, and that was how Glenn Close felt. So when they wanted to change the ending, she was fuming. She didn't want to do it. She said she wouldn't do it, in fact, and she held out for weeks saying that she wouldn't, but it is what it is, and eventually she had to change the ending. In the original ending, Glenn Close unalives herself. In the That's how you have to say it for YouTube these days. In the ending that went out, many of you know what happens. She's shot by Dan's wife after absolutely going off the wall. So you can see why it's controversial. In the original ending, Dan gets put away because when she unalives herself, his fingerprints are on the knife. So he goes to prison. So there is a level of comeuppance for this terrible character. I'm just putting a small bit of pencil just through the outside of my brows. They're hardly noticeable on Alex. So, I mean, she is blonde, but I need to just make them a bit even. So we're keeping them pretty light like that. We're going to use a bit of bronzer. This is a liquid bronzer, and we're going to make some freckles. So I just spread a bit of that on my hand, and then we're going to take a hairpin, and we're going to work from here straight onto the face. Glenn Close is covered in freckles. It's gorgeous. Obviously, I'm putting freckles on me, but Glenn Close has her own. If you have never seen Fatal Attraction, then you may be blissfully unaware that the term bunny boiler comes from this film, because there is a scene in the film where she boils Dan's daughter's pet rabbit. Her portrayal in this film is so incredible. She is so great. She should have won an Oscar, I think. Okay, from here, I am going to pop a little bit of blush on. This is, I should have really put the blush on before I put the freckles on. We can put some more freckles over the top. This is Chorus Girl, and it is by Rem Beauty, which is Ariana Grande's line. And this is a lip and cheek tint. There's not much to this makeup. We're also going to use this on the lips. It's the perfect colour for this. So she wears this colour the whole way through. Okay, so let's do eyes. I picked out two products that would work for this. Prunella by MAC, which they still make, or the Bobbi Brown Aubergine Long Wear Cream Liner Stick would also work. I'm going to use Prunella, and I'm just going to put it on the eye, and then I'm going to smudge it and apply more as we get there. As Alex starts to spiral, the makeup gets heavier and more dense and way more asymmetric. So originally, the producers and the director did not want Glenn Close for this role, but she was adamant that it was her role. She was absolutely adamant. They didn't think that she could play sexy, right? Now, Glenn Close said, I will read for this part, which is a thing that many established actors really don't want to do because they don't feel like they should. But she wanted this role so much, and she wanted to prove that she could play this role. And so she did her read with Michael Douglas, and immediately everyone was like, oh my God, she's right for the role. The makeup artist was Richard Dean, and he is a very prolific film makeup artist. He did most of Julia Roberts' films. When he was developing the makeup for Glenn Close, he talked to the director about how they should shoot her from certain angles, and she has quite a bit of asymmetry on her face. And what they did was that they played up the asymmetry. So normally as a makeup artist, we spend time balancing, and if one eye is smaller than the other, we'll do little tricks to make it appear like they're the same. Most people have asymmetry. But what they did in this film was, as Alex spiraled, they really accentuated the asymmetry. They started to drag the eyes down, and the makeup got messier and heavier in parts. There's one part where she has no freckles at all because she has such a full-on foundation. And this part is where she goes, she pretends to be someone looking at Dan and Dan's wife's house. And when Dan comes in, he sees his wife talking to Alex. Obviously, the wife has no idea that Dan's had an affair, and Dan is absolutely fuming. And in that particular scene, she has a full base on, and her makeup is really quite heavy as she starts to go a little bit more deranged. And you'll see that throughout the film, all the way to the end, where actually she doesn't have a lot of makeup on at all. And that's the ultimate breakdown and end of the film. The hair does the same thing. It starts off quite refined and curly. As we go throughout the film, it gets quite wild and bushy. So as you see her spiral, everything starts to break down. This is very smart. Now the makeup isn't on the waterline, it's under the eye. But as we go through the film, it gets quite Dusty Springfield. So we're just gonna, you see how I'm starting to really smudge this out and down, and then I'm going to take a finger and run it all the way across the eye. Now, often in films, the makeup won't necessarily be perfect because the people aren't meant to be makeup artists. So, and it certainly isn't in this. It's all about the fact that, you know, she's got other things on her mind. She's doing other things rather than concentrating on making her makeup perfect. So as you go through the film, this can get really quite smudgy under here. Glenn's wardrobe in this film is great. It's entirely monochrome, which works very well because there's absolutely no distractions from her acting and her gradual descent. And in the final scene of the film, she has like a white dress on. It's almost an odd choice. It's almost like the wedding that didn't happen. Or is it supposed to imply that she, in her mind, she absolutely thinks that she is justified in acting in such a way? Or is it simply because blood stands out and looks so dramatic against white? I mean, I'm sure there's many, many reasons that they chose the white dress for that. But, and also, like, if you were going to someone's house to hurt them, not that any of you would, nor I, the last thing you would choose to wear would be white, right? So you know that she's not in her best state of mind. These little details are all things that absolutely thrill me when I watch films. If it doesn't have good, smart makeup design, and it's a film that requires it, and not just a film that requires something beautiful, like, say, Notting Hill, then I find it quite distracting. I'm just going to pull the eyes out a little, but not flicking them up. Has to be sort of down. I haven't put any concealer under the eyes. It's really not a requirement. Pop a bit of mascara on, not a lot. A little bit more mascara in the early sexy scenes, not so much later on. I'm running my fingers over this to take off the ends, so it's not like long lashes. That is not what this is about. Right, now we're going to powder. Because it's the 80s, everything is flat as a pancake. Now, as we go deeper into the film, we can go a bit darker with this purpley shade. This is Bobbi Brown Aubergine. I mean, purple is the perfect shade for this because it has that bit of warmth in it that always looks a little bit like you've been crying, you know. At times, there's a little bit of sheen under one eye where it looks like she's been crying or sweating or something dramatic is going on. The lip changes throughout the film as well. As she starts to descend, the lip liner will get stronger and then it will fade off again at the end. This is Max Factor Warm Brown. It was so hard to find this lip liner colour. I looked through everything. It looks like Original Spice, but Spice isn't the same as it was. Now, one of the things that they did with her makeup was go straight over the Cupid's bow. My lips have quite pronounced Cupid's bow, so I'm going to matte down that top line so it's not reflecting. There we go. NYX Line Loud in the colour Darling Damsel. So I'm just making sure with that liner, I take it right into that inside corner, and you can drag that down a bit as well. Where I'm using this cool brown with the eyes, I'm taking it right into this socket. Can you see that? Just at the front there. As I said, not neat. But just, there's a scene where she tells Dan she's pregnant, and it is super dark in here and pretty unblended. Like, you know, you see how that's a bit patchy? It's totally fine. It's almost like it's been put on and left. That's it for me today, guys. If there's any films or characters that you're particularly interested in seeing, I can have a look at them. I've got a full list of characters to do and look at, and these are ones that particularly appeal to me. I love a complex character. So let me know if you want to see more of these, or if you hate them. I'd be really interested. If you have any great insights or any little stories about this particular film that you want to share, then we'd love to see them in the comments. I think it's always really interesting for other people to read those things. There are so many things I could have put in this video, but this video would have been so long. So as this is a new format for me, I'm just trying out to see what works. If you want them longer, that's fine. If you want less info, that's fine too. If you don't like them at all, it was really helpful if you let me know. This hair would double up as Kelly LeBrock in Weird Science, wouldn't it? Anyway, thanks guys. I'll catch you soon. Bye.